Goodness gracious, mercy me, it must be a free day Friday here on the Coyote Medicine Show. Do apologize for the temporary blackout there in the sound for a little bit. Goodness gracious, guys, we're slipping in our tripping here a little bit. Technical issues all day long, but thanks for hanging with us, babies. And those of you still out there, babies, and those of you coming back now that we got some noise going on, man. Oh, forgive the old grandpa for his slippage and my technological difficulties this morning. Know that it's a free day Friday and anything can happen, and often does here on the Coyote Medicine Show, just to help us stay in the flow, don't you know? Sometimes, man, it just continues resonating outward no matter what's going on. So even although all you hear in the background is a little rustling noise, man, you're feeling the flow, that ever-loving glow, ain't you? You don't let go of this old radio. It stays with you all weekend long. That's why the weekend's going to be real strong and powerful, too. That means you got the blessings of love coming forward. You know, what does it mean to ascend but to go up, you know, to expand outward, see? That's what you do in your conscious presence. You allow the reality of truthful love to be present in your being, in your person. You know the feeling of it now. You know what it is now, because we radiate it back to you, man. You open up and show, and I may help you get in the glow. It's simply like that. We're in it for each other and for everyone, don't you see? It's not just 1, 2, or 3. It's 3 million. It's 3 billion. And then the numbers get big. It exponentiates like that. It truthfully is a nuclear explosion, baby. You know, where we finally get it right. We finally help ourselves take flight. You know, meaning that we let ourselves expand and grow, don't you know? You know, it's just visualize the mighty donut, you know, that donut shape that we call the spiral torus. And see the spirals of life radiating outward from you energetically, from that juncture point inside we call the heart. Radiating outward from yourself energetically in these big spiral waves of glittering, glowing energies of creation, man. And it just keeps getting larger and larger. It's ever increasing, you know. It's not spiraling upward, it's outward. See, it can't be up or down. It's just out in all directions, you know. And you're right there in the center of that flow. That's the spiral torus of love, don't you know? The big donut in our heart, as I call it, which makes it our reality. We live in the big donut, man. Heck sakes, you know? And realizing this, you know, we can only be more and more in that flow, more engaged with creation, which returns us into a far more civil state of being, because nothing can be held in secrecy any longer, and there can't be any skullduggery or deception. Just don't work anymore, you know. Innocent eyes see truthful things, and that's it. You know, that's real creation. That's the melting of all divisions that we call dimensions. That's living in all of it cosmically, fully and presently inside of the human person that you are right now, expanded into the ever grander human person that you are right now too. In other words, the physical reality around you greatly alters as well as your own physicality. And it ain't death, but it's like that. It's like dying to the old way, man, and kissing it goodbye ever so sweetly. You know, it's been a grand lover, you got to admit. It was challenging as all get out, but she's been a grand lover, this history, this divine patronage of the generations passing through the bloodstreams of life. You see, I mean, you know, she deserves a good kiss goodbye, man, you know, as challenging as she has been. You gotta admit, the underlying tone is that she's a righteous lover, and has been all along, and really is in her own way, in that coyote way, true to the heart that loves her dearly. You see? We've always fooled ourselves into thinking there was so much dysentery in our creation, you know, dysfunction. You know, I didn't mean to be too gruesome. But baby, there's just so much dysfunction here, you know, at least that's what we thought, you know, and it seemed like we were living in a different level, a different plane, you know, one from another, you know. God, here in Crestone, that's really illustrated, because most of the people you meet here are to themselves a character. And they have their own individual personal way of seeing and doing things, and that's that. You know, the kind of an independent lot. Yet I look at them, and I see the uniformity of heart in every one of them. I see the divine presence. I see a family of familiar energies, a very close vibrational harmony that's in a coyote way tricked itself into being here by whatever means it took to get you here. You know, most people that have come here, all of these individual characters, have a story to go with it. Myself included, you know, and you got to admit, I'm a bit of a character now, ain't I? Caricature, more like. Somebody asked me the other day if I was a prophet. I said, no, I feel more like a boss, man. Don't put me in that plus column just yet. Walking through the darkness is the only way to find the light. Yeah, you got that right. That's what we've done here. D-O-N-E or D-U-N, however you want to spell it. And we're done, baby. We're like, you know, Mr. Sister. We want to rock. We're ready to blossom. And so that's what we're doing. Just see yourself as the flower of creation, man, blossoming into being. And each little spiral going out from you is another petal on the flower. You know, you get it? You see, we're blossomers, man. Blossoming beings, man. And, you know, that's why we have this childlike nature about us, that we could never really outrun for all of our adult skullduggery. We could never really outrun the childish nature. That's where the supposedly ego thing comes from. But what that really is just that child demanded that his presence be recognized and honored and accepted here because it didn't feel like it was. See, but you can't force people into states of love. You can only be loving yourself towards everything that lives, and they'll be loving back with you, you know. Just like my little computer machine here, for all of its glitches, man, it's done a great job considering how rough it was this morning to begin with. There's so many things were running against this, but it came together, and we got it to rock, and we didn't lose too many of our audience out there, so God, guys, I appreciate you hanging on. You know how the vibe is. It goes with you wherever you go anyway. So all weekend long, you know, you're walking along singing the heart song, kind of under your breath, though, because you don't want anybody else to know, right? You're shy about it, see? And then you hear others doing the same thing. And so you see everybody on the sidewalk, driving by in the cars, flying by in the airplanes. You can still hear it. And they're like, everybody's singing this same melody, this same song of the heart, but very quietly because they're kind of embarrassed by it and shy. You know, they don't know that everybody. But then again, as you hear it, everybody else begins to hear it too, and the volume gradually comes up. Now do you see that huge ball of love expanding from you in all directions? You see how this occurs, how this happens? How it's an everlasting moment that's given in divine perfection. And it's about to replicate itself on earth here because it's replicating in you right now. And me too. So maybe our gathering on June 21 will be a lot of fun because it's a part of that. You know, maybe just a little small part of it. But it doesn't have to be a big spectacular thing. It's better if it's, you know, small and it's just a few because, wow. You can be a little closer that way. You can share the energies in a more. But you know, if a few more show up, that's okay too. I'm not saying it has to be 10 or anything. I'm not suggesting a number. I'm just saying, you know, it won't be a big crowd. Don't expect that. But those that are there will be, you know, of that ilk, of that nature. You know. So, brothers and sisters, in other words, they're recognizable, just like I'm talking about most all, in fact, all the residents of Crestone that I have met so far have that family energy, as I call that family heart, even though, boy, baby, you don't want to get in their way, man. They can pick on one another pretty severely here, I'll tell you, you know. They can get, for all the spiritual nature here, they can get real digressive real fast, let me tell you, man. Hoo-wee! Can be a tough place to be in for some folk, you know. A lot of folk find that out living here, you know, but there's also the energy of the land. And this is what draws us here, and this is why most of us have stuck it out, despite any eccentricities we might have exhibited or seen others exhibiting, etc. Because the land just hung on to our heart, says, hey, baby, you're home. And you kept looking around saying, God, I love it. It's gorgeous, man. But, you know, home? What's that? Home, baby, home. Well, isn't that just inside? Home, baby, home. Huh. You really mean that, don't you? You know, so I think June 21, and right now too, really, and 4/20/2008, etc., is the date that's never too late, because we're right on time experiencing that right now. You know, somebody exposes it, a little bit of it, then, you know, it's like old Toto pulling back the curtain on the Wizard of Ahhhz, man. You know, there's the old medicine man back there pulling levers and speaking into a microphone and stuff. The illusion's over. The reality is known. And the wizard is no more than the rest of us. And we're all wizards. Each and every one of us. We're divine beings. We're powerful. But, you know, we don't have to, like, what do you say? How do you describe it? We are simply that love, very enjoyably so. Our orgasmic tendencies come from a contented nature, not from a confounded one or a frustrated one, you know, not from a needy one either. You know, the need is like superseded right along with the greed, which is a need. You know, it's all superseded because there is no emptiness. There's just the heart growing, and, you know, there is no sadness in all of that either. We've grieved a lot and we've shed a lot of tears, it's true. But the sadness doesn't carry through to here. You see? We're close now, really close, to the full expression of our vibrational harmony by singing that song of love under our breath and noticing that everyone else is too. And letting our heart expand enough to empower our voice to sing it once again, loud and clear, with a ring that's really, really true. And that's what clarifies everything here, is the vibrational change of the human heart singing itself into its pure, truthful existence. Some call it Lemuria, some call it Paradise, like me. Others call it Nirvana. Others call it the Garden of Eden. Geez, oh, it's so far beyond those legendary places of being all of them. I mean, that's it, but it's can't even begin to describe it. That's how huge the shift is that's going on right now. This is why we have to be willingly expansive all weekend long and continue in this unified way to aid and assist each other in our growth. To not let go then of this energetic connection, just to let it continue to grow, even beyond the end and completion of this here Coyote Medicine Show, which still has a ways to go, by the way. Signing off, we're signing on right there, right now, just like you are, you know. See, we're catching on, and we're putting it into practice as we do. You see, it's a real life we're living. It's not some hocus pocus wizardry other than the hocus pocus wizardry that's built right into us. Magic, yes, pure and simple, of a loving heart. That's where the magic exists in every being, every person, not just the human. But we're unique in this creation. Man, we got brothers and sisters everywhere across the universe, of course. Humans been there, done that, babies. You'll start to remember this kind of shit. You'll know it real fast, in fact. The way things are going right now, this accelerated path, we'll be reacquainted with our family in no time at all. Because we already are. We're living it right now. Like I say, I recognize it right here surrounding me in Crestone, Colorado. Can't imagine what you're feeling in your place, you know. And that's despite incredible diversity here and some real conflict between those diverse points of being, you know. But that's the beauty of living around characters, man, you know. After a while, I reckon we'll all start to see the caricature in that, and then we can get beyond it. I think the heart's already shown us that. And it's bringing us back to each other's face in a very comedic and kind of cartoon sort of way, you know, so we can Just let go of it. Take it no more serious than we would Daffy Duck or Mickey Mouse. Just have fun with it and then be done with it. It's a cartoon, man. That's where we've been living, man. In that 3D. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm telling you, what a cartoon, too, man. And what a caricature. Really, this is what we are, as a living representation in a cartoonish way of what we really are. What we truthfully are. So that's what I mean when I say we only have kind of a shadow of ourselves here. And an exaggerated sort of shadow at that. See, that's why our perceptions have been so altered. We've been living in Toon World, and I really love the redhead. What's her name? Roger Rabbit, I'm talking about. Toon World. Craziness, babies, craziness. But it's been kind of like that, ain't it? But see, waking up is what? Coming out of the cartoon and being back in the audience, And appreciating the freshness of new life in yourself. Because, wow, while that movie was on, you were living it, man. Every bit of it. That was a wild little cartoon, wasn't it? And you're leaving there now to go party with your friends. You're already partying right there in the theater, man. That began about halfway through the movie, didn't it? It seems like it. Maybe it was before. I can't remember, man. Free Day Friday, I'm telling you. Freewheeling, too. Because it's this kind of reality we're feeling. It's this wake-up call. But it's just like that. It's like being in the theater and waking up as a person in the audience, surrounded by a bunch of good-hearted folk, who've been laughing their ass off while they, dreamed their way through it, right along with it. I mean, it was kind of like we found out the projector wasn't up in a booth up there putting celluloid on an image on a screen. The light was in all the members of the audience, and they projected that movie into being through their cosmic dreaming imagination, their collective heart, this entire audience. I'd call it humanity. It's a good audience, And so we became the projectors, each and every one of us. And what we lived is what we saw on that screen, you see, our own little cartoon projection. You could never really reflect your true greatness in a 3D world. It can't be contained here. It's multidimensional. So you only get a little speck, a little idea, a little glimmer of what it might be. It's like a cartoon character, It's like Wile E. Coyote, and sometimes it's really exaggerated. How many coyotes run around on 2 feet and try to drop, bombs on the Roadrunner and stuff? I mean, it's not a real world, is it? No, and it's about as harmful as all that. And notice those cartoon characters get up, after they get run over by a steam shovel, get up and just walk away, get blown to smithereens, and right back together again. Nothing happens, This is kind of how we're releasing ourselves, as we come back to life here in the audience, as the projector, begins to realize what it's been up to, because it got, kind of lost in the movie, kind of went to sleep at the wheel, and the movie became kind of self-directed, and it got kind of exaggerated, didn't it, Wow. But then you got to have drama. I mean, otherwise everybody does go to sleep and leaves, I mean, they just don't want to stay there. It's not fun, This one certainly was. Man, and it had some drama, and it had some grip, it had some life-bending moments. Every time you took a breath, it seemed like there was something going on there. It was really tragic, or really triumphant, or really colorful, or really exotic, or really deep and powerful, or feeling things were, ooh, gosh almighty. When we tune into our feeling, we tune into the feelings of the earth. And then we understand this is why we've been feeling the way we've been feeling, because the earth and you and I are unified in our feeling. That's the love. That's the energy of the love. That's the conscious presence in the love. Feeling. That's where the divine vision that we call the dream we live in begins, right there in that feeling, Metaphorically speaking, maybe, but real, right now. Here inside of us is the energy of life. Radiates, from the center of our bones, from the sinews and all the other stuff we got inside. Just feels itself feels its presence, knows, loves the feeling of life, the love within that life, which is life. Love, love, love. Oh my goodness, guys. I tell you, it can get so amazingly simple and pure here when you let it. And when you live it that way, babies, and then, you know, I'm still there with you. Whatever degree we're in it together. And this is what we're going to be all weekend long, together. In fact, we're going to stay this way. This little tiny cell that's left here this morning, going to stay this way. The unity throughout the occurrence of June 21, whether we attend that event in person or not, we'll be there in person one way or another, you understand, because we're unified. So I know my presence will be there, therefore your presence will be too, you see, whether you physically travel here or not. Be sweet to see and have you, but I understand, you know, there's conflicts in this reality, and sometimes they're not easy to get around, you know. And there's always, you know, something ridiculous you have to deal with. That's part of the drama, you know. Man, we've had such a great time, it's hard to step out of it, you know. But we're waking up. You know, and actually we're kind of withdrawing our light from that projected reality, but we're bringing the conscious presence of it with us. I mean, it's not like something we just step right out of and forget and it's gone. It's something we can nurture and appreciate forever, but it loses its sting immediately because we just unraveled all of the tragedy by seeing the movement of love in it. You know, all of it. You live it, you be it, that is, man. That's the ride on the pale horse of love, and that's the journey that he or she takes you on. This pale horse has many genders and many colors, but it's the pale horse of love just the same. Riding you along to this true life, the headwaters of life where all things begin, you know, once again. So you can go skinny dipping in the waters of life, sit upon the warm rocks that are actually soft beneath you there. I mean, they just soften up when you sit there. They kind of form a little chair around you, you know? And the radiant beams of sunlight, you know, becoming rainbows in the midst of the gigantic waterfall. And you're breathing in that rainbow, and babies, when you breathe out, it's creation. You speak it, you sing it into being, that song of your heart. Now you see how it works. Now you're beginning to get better and know that it really is a reality. See how far it stretches beyond this one? See why it's a little difficult for some people to take? Make allowances for yourself to stretch as much as you can, and you'll find others stretching right along with you. They might be a little dingy about it, but they'll settle down after a bit if they ain't already, you know. The more you can allow for yourself, the more it's going to be peaceful for everyone, you know? It's as simple as that. We don't need some kind of triumphant war to prove that love is alive. You know what I mean? That's been done a billion times before. Enough, babies, enough. The love has arrived, and man, it's a tidal wave, and there ain't no stopping it. It's just like Stephen King's big, thick work, That Stand, only kind of a reverse of that. Instead of spreading death all over the place, it's spreading life. It got loose down there in Texas somewhere, and now everybody's getting infected, right? Something like that. Yeah, I tell you. It's just like that, though, and it spreads like wildfire. It catches on. You know, it's just like any fire. It takes a bit to catch on and really get going. But boy, once it gets going, shoo, as long as it's got a little something to burn out, but boy, this sure does. And the place is ripe with it, you know, dead timbers and lots of dry weeds and stuff, you know. It's kind of littered, too. It's a purifying fire, man. Ooh, baby. What it leaves behind is not an ashy mess. Because up out of those ashes comes a little whirl of the spirit wind, you know, like the finger of creation is dancing there and starting to recreate that spiral of life, that spiral torus, you know, in a little whirlwind. And out of those ashes comes the grandest of all creation lived in a feeling way, unifiedly so, in unity, in equity. Because all life is harmonic and in vibration with all life. That's the song of the heart. And the spiral torus of love, the big donut in the sky. Oh yeah, inside of you. It's in the sky and everywhere else too. It's us. It's what we be. Oh, Grandpa does that tree again, babies, don't you see? Ooh, now you can go walking through those places and never notice anything, as out of place, and therefore it won't be, It's really as easy as that. The difficulty's only been in being willing to accept it, to see that you are, in other words. How to get past a lot of bullshit conditioning. I mean, it comes to the fear of it comes to us from the generations past, but also the desire for it, you see, and the ability to do it too. Here we go, babies, rock and roll. Ooh, man, what a stroke.